Hi guys, welcome to Nick's Knits Podcast. I'm Nick, also known as Knits on Ravelry, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can also contact me via our Ravelry group, which is called Nick's Knits Podcast. And you can also find more information about me and the podcast on my blog, which is Nick's Knits, www.knicksknits.com. So hi guys, this is going to be kind of a little bit of a shorter episode because I head back to school tomorrow and I have to sort of get stuff ready. Yeah, so I just wanted to say a quick hi, come on. Yeah, so here, let me do the male knitter shout out, and yeah. Hello to Caleb, son of Sally Jane of the Pink Hair Girl Knits podcast, and his Ravelry name is Caleb Craft. Josh, who is sort of a knitter, and he also has the Sort of a Knitter podcast. Kenneth, who is the Turbo Knitter 64, and he also has a podcast. His podcast name is the Turbo Knitters Podcast. Terry, who owns the Etsy shop Bags by Terry, and is T. Schmidt on Ravelry. Jared, who is Brooklyn Tweed. James, who is Dancing Geek and has the Dancing Geek podcast. Darren, who is DJ Knits a Lot More and is the co-host of the Knitting in Circles podcast. Dennis, who is Buzzboy. John, who is Knitboy1. Matthew, who is MKBug74. Dan, who is Obi-Wan Knitter and is co-host of the Bakery Bears podcast. John, who is MenKnit2. Sean, who is a co-host of the His and Hers podcast. Matt, who is Navy1999 and is co-host of the Apple Blossom and You podcast. Mike, who is Mikey Jr. Paul, who is Paulie81. Dave, who is the co-host of the FO and Die podcast and is Dave's Knits on Ravelry and Knit Monkey on Instagram. Benjamin, who is Benjamin Crudwig on Ravelry and has the Fibercast podcast. Navi, who is Navi Sama on Ravelry, and he's very multi-craftual. Barry, who is Barry195 and is from Northern Ireland. Shane, who is Z Shane. Nick, who is son of Rachel, and Rachel's Rav ID or Rav name is Mrs. Sneely John. And Richard, who is Fab Fairy Knits, and he is a big kayaker, and William, who is House of William on Ravelry, and Calum, who our new addition is Calum, who is nephew of Bobby, also known as Bobcat Bobby on Ravelry, and yeah, hi Calum, welcome. News about the male knitter shout out. I got a message from one of the viewers and saying that the male knitter shout out is getting a little repetitive, which I can kind of understand. So if you think that I should just have new additions, if I should just say the new additions, let me know. I think it might make a little bit more sense considering it eats up a lot of time and whatever. I just don't think it's worth it. Yeah, let's get right into whips. So my socks. Pardon my reach. My socks. This is just the basic socks that I always do. 64 stitches for a 7-inch, 7 stitches per inch. I use the basic socks pattern in the Knitter's Handy Book of Patterns by Ann Budd. And yeah, I'm sort of getting used to it. I don't really have to look at a pattern now, but I'm on the heel flap. And this is Lollipop Yarn. Let me see, I might have the tag in here. I might have left it over there. Here we go. Yep. Lollipop Yarn in the Beefcake base in the Wild Thing colorway. And let me pull out her tag. She explains all the rows and everything. There you go. So there's that. I'm doing contrasting yarn for the heels and toes, obviously. And this is I love this for like stripy yarns. This little pattern here. Oh, that right there. Where it's like half of the row is, you know, that gray and half of it is yellow. That's just a slip one, knit one. So when you get to the color change, just slip one and knit one throughout the entire row. Or what I do is if obviously normally the color change isn't like perfectly on the row. So just whenever you hit the color change, do slip one, knit one until you make your way all the way around, then just keep knitting. yeah, and that's really easy, really fun. It adds a little bit of texture to it, I think. I like the way it looks. So there's that. I'm finished with the first sock. Yep. It's very nice. I love it. I can't wait to wear the second one. I'm just trying to think. I think that's it. I'm using my Yarnet for this. I love this thing. I think this is going to be like, I might need to buy another one just to like have for other projects, because like I'm just always using this for socks, because it distributes your yarn so easily, and it's not very expensive. I think it's about $31, and it's all made in the US, which for $31, all made in the US, and it's a helpful tool, totally worth it. Plus, for the guy knitters out there, it has a mustache. So thank you, Yarnet people. Actually, I've wanted to send you a message ever since I've been at Vogue Knitting Live. But, yeah. So, there's that. What other whips do I have? The Cobblestone Sweater by Jared Flood. Using the Manos del Uruguay Maxima in the colorway Coal, and the number for that colorway is M2540. I'm using a US 7, and this is for me. It's a very nice gray color. It's pretty color true, I think. It's very soft and squishy. I know it's a single, and you guys are going to say, oh my goodness, it's a single. It's going to work out fine. This yarn is wonderful. And if it does pill, I will get one of like those gleaners or whatever, those, you know, pill, like, I don't know what you could, pill brush, I guess you could say, or a sweater stone. I'm pretty far along. I counted, I only have 51 more rows in the body, which really is not that bad. That's like, if I were to sit down for an afternoon, I could do that. Yeah, it's nice because, yeah, I won't give away the secret sauce, but it just has the secret sauce of the pattern. But it just has a nice garter panel on the sides, and then it has stockinette in the body, and then it's a garter yoke. Easy, but it's nice. It's relaxing just to have something where you can just knit on it. You don't have to worry about patterning or whatever. And I've honestly been wanting to find something that's a little more complicated. I think I want to do Kay from the Bakery Bears podcast, new shawl. It looks really nice, and I've never done a shawl before. I have done a shawl, but I wouldn't really count it as like a nice, like lacy or patterned shawl. I did it with a gradient kit, and it was really cool, the gradient kit. Because it came in, it was wrapped in this way that it almost looked like a loaf of challah bread, and it was really cool. Like each skein was like interlocked on one another, but it was like in autumn colors. I'll bring it on. I'll try to bring it on next podcast if I remember. Next whip, the Let's Twist Again cowl by Let's Twist Again the Barbara Walker Way, in the Neighborhood Fiber Co. Rustic DK. I don't know the colorway. I can't find the tag. And again, I'm barely cast on. I actually figured out these are like faux cables, so you don't need to use a cable needle, and they're actually pretty cool cables. I don't know. Doesn't totally interest me, and the yarn is kind of annoying, but I'll get through it because I'm excited to see the end product. Oh, and my yarn got stuck on my zipper. I'm gonna have to cut that later. Oof. Especially 2 rows in. Isn't that fun? That's why you do not leave projects in. And then the other, and this is in my 2 at a time cowl by the bag. The 2 at a time bag by Silver Shed in this nice glasses print. And then it has an orange chevron. I love this bag. It is so great. And it's perfect for traveling because it has a slot. It's going to be kind of hard to show, but yeah, there, you can kind of see it there. It has a slot, so you could have, like, if you have one skein projects, you could have, like, 2 projects going at once in the same bag. Or if you're doing color work or intarsia, this is also great because it just keeps everything organized. Nothing gets tangled around each other too much. And the other thing that's in this bag is my Clapatee in Woolmizer Pure. Oh, wait, here's the tag right here before I forget. The Woolmizer Pure in that Munchen. Oh, I have to ask my mom how you pronounce this. because she, I think it was her second language. It might have even been her first language growing up. Oh, hold on. Sorry, everybody. My computer just powered down. Whoopsie daisy. You know what? I will be right back. I completely forgot about something. Sorry. Hold on. I'm coming. Sorry, guys. Been a little frazzled lately. I just got back from my trip, as you know. I usually have my computer plugged in when I'm podcasting. When it's plugged in, it doesn't like go into sleep mode. And so, sorry. There we go. Now we're good to go. So that was the Clapa Tea and the Woolmizer Pure in the Munchen colorway. And I like it. I don't know. I just have these weird edgings. Anybody that's done a Clapa Tea out there, is the increases, like, is there supposed to be drop stitches in the increases? And I also have these weird holes I'm going to have to patch up later. That's why I'm just not happy about it. Are there drop stitches on the increases at all? I don't see it in the pattern, but I could just be reading it completely wrong. So if you guys know... Oh, and is there... I don't think I need the markers, these ones. The famous, infamous markers. Almost everybody talks about these. How you place them in between your... Oh, and this is a free pattern on Knitty. I don't remember what year or season, but it's a great pattern. I really want to do it. I'm just kind of confused on whether this is going to be stockinette, and I might have to make something up. Anyway, yeah, this is a... You know what? I might be reading... No. I do not know. I have no idea. Oh, and I have a picture of the... I haven't been showing, and product photos. It's alright. It's a drop stitch here. Let me give you... I've been going like, wee. No, I need to show you guys. Been a little frazzled lately. I think I need to get back on a schedule. You think? Anyway, there you go. Yeah, just simple increases, but it's like fast, rapidly increasing, and I have these weird holes, and I might just have to rip it out and restart. I might just, when I have the patience and time to do so, I might do that. FOs, none. No FOs. Not yet. I like these, you know, kind of bigger projects. I'll probably be done with the socks next week if I can find Lollipop Yarn. She's the nicest person because if I get a sport weight, I need to have, like, contrast heel and toe yarn to, like, be able to make a pair of socks. And she always sends me, and even if it does come with one heel and toe ball, I need two for it to work. So, she sent me one, and now I can't find the other ball, which is, it's getting me really angry. Because my problem is I just organized everything, and I got the yarn on Friday, right after, like, right when I got back, and I cannot find it. And I feel like I swooped it up in something. I just hope I didn't throw it away with everything else. If I do, I'm just going to see how far I can get with the self-striping yarn. I should be able to get to the end toe, hopefully. You know, I'm the person that my socks do not have to match. Nobody's going to see them. I'm not the person that wears my socks around the house a ton, even though I am. I'm going to fly here. I'm wearing my Patton's Croy socks. I don't like, I'm somebody where I would rather just, the leg is more important to me than the, you know, foot, because the foot is, nobody's really going to see it. It's really just the leg, like, and something that might pop. I like that, you know. It adds a little something. Anyway, stash enhancements, still none. I have gotten a ton of yarn donations. I really want to thank everybody for all of the yarn donations. I'll put in a picture at the end, but I have 3 big baskets full of yarn. Honestly, I don't know how I'm going to get it all back to my school and find storage for it. It's just overwhelmingly amazing how many of you were so kind to send me something. The kids will really appreciate it, especially when they really start to learn to knit and they really get the hang of it. And I think they have. Yeah. Anyway, so we will The only thing I'm now looking for is a Swift and ball winder to have at school, so that, because a lot of the yarn's in skeins, and I just don't have time to wind every single ball. I don't have one of those electric ball winders. I wish I did. But I need a Swift and yarn. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I need a Swift and ball winder to have at school. Sorry, you guys can probably tell I'm a little frazzled. Just kind of a crazy day. Anyway, yeah. Knitting club update. We're still on spring break. We go back tomorrow. I won't have a meeting next week because we're having revisit days, where it's basically the kids who have applied and then got in, and if they want to come back and visit, then they come, and I have to be one of the, or I am going to be, I don't have to be, I am going to be one of the, or I'm happy to be one of the tour guides, where you basically just take the kid on, or the child on your route basically throughout the day. So we will think that's it. I've really been able to organize, which is nice, because my room usually looks like a bomb zone, but I've really been able to organize and sort of get everything in its right space. My desk still looks like a mess, but yarn and knitting wise, I'm pretty good. Yeah, so moving on to the cow. The Spring into Socks cow with the bakery, I'm doing it co-jointly with the Bakery Bears. Post in the chatter thread, and please show me your yarn, your needles, whatever you're working on. The socks have to be cast on or after March 1st, and cast off on or before April 31st. And there was kind of a confusion. Kate talked about this in her most recent podcast. But what I'm doing is I'm doing one pair of socks, one pair equals one entry. Kay has it where one person equals one entry. I'm doing, so for example, at the Bakery Bears, what they're doing is you post your first pair of socks, and then you edit your post to add more pictures. So you get one entry no matter how many pairs of socks you make. For mine, it's one entry per one pair of socks. I think that's, I don't know. It's my first time doing a cow, and I think the reason why I did it is because I don't think there's going to be as many people as the Bakery Bears are going to sign up for or put in the giveaway thread for my cow, which is totally fine. More chance for the people who do post, but I think to get it some higher numbers so that it's at least I don't want it to be like 2 to 15 because have more people and whatever. But yeah, so. Let me show the prizes. So, our prizes are this skein of yarn. Very pretty. It is High Prairie Fibers from Iowa. And it is in her Bambuca Shimmer Base, which is 65% merino, superwash merino, 35% bamboo in the Loden colorway, and this would make a nice pair of socks, or you could make like a nice little shawl. It's 400 yards, and here is her URL. Go and check her out. She has great stuff. So there's that. Then I have these two bags from, I don't know how to pronounce this. I think it's Halsey yarn, but it's these nice bags. I actually have more with this bag that I'll show just right after this. This is this bag and this bag, which has birds on it. And then we also have a bag from Bags by Terry, who is T. Schmidt on Ravelry, because I've said the male knitter shout out so many times. Yeah, it's a nice just woodland animals bag. It's a sweater quantity, like a sweater bag. You could really like fit a whole. You could fit a whole. His bags are great because they stand up all on their own. Because they're made out of like a more outdoor fabric, and then it has a nice lining. And then the pocket, I'm not sure. There you go. The pocket is made out of the same fabric as the outside. And the pocket has, like, you know, a pocket for your pen, pocket for notions, stuff like that. Or, you know, extra needles that you might have in the bag, whatever. So, those are the prizes as of now. If you're interested in donating, that would be wonderful. I would love to get your prize. Just PM me, NicksKnits on Ravelry, or email me, nicksknits@gmail.com. I never talk about that. You can always email me. If you don't have a Ravelry account, but you're watching me on YouTube, or you're watching me on the blog, just email me, nicksknits@gmail.com. And I actually found a little trick for Ravelry. If you, what I do is there's a way where you can get Ravelry to send you emails with messages from Ravelry. So they'll send me an email and I'll have the message there from whoever sent me. And then I can reply to it in my email. So let's say I'm using Gmail. Ravelry sends the information to Gmail and the Gmail gives it to me. And then I can reply and Gmail will take that and give that back to Ravelry. And then they'll give it to, you know, the user, whoever sent it to me. So it's really cool because I'm able to quickly respond, like especially with my phone, I can just quickly respond without having to go through, you know, the full site of Ravelry. I think they're trying to sort of make a more mobile site, which is good. Anyway, let me talk about my upcoming projects. I totally skipped over that, and then we're sort of coming into the end here. So my first upcoming project is in this nice Delaque bag, which was for special edition for Web's 40th anniversary. Let me show you. Websyarn.com. And I have this yarn in a goldenrod, in the goldenrod colorway of Cascade 220, and in the twilight blue colorway of Cascade 220. These are my school colors. And I'm making a scarf for a friend. One of those like Harry Potter type scarves where it's double knit, and I'm going to do some Fair Isle, which nice, again, a nice mindless knit. I don't know why I'm getting into these mindless knits. I'd really want to do like a lace shawl or cables or just something a little more interesting, but I'll get to that. You know, right now, especially with school is going to start ramping up, I'll just take easy projects, something where I don't really have to think about it at the end of the day. And then my other project, which is in the same bag, this bag by Halsey Yarn will be matching, or twinsies as they say. If you win this bag, or whoever does win this bag will be twinsies. And I'm doing socks out of Valley Yarns. Oh, I'm sorry. Those yarns, the blue and gold, those were Cascade 220, just the regular. And this yarn is Valley Yarns Huntington, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. There we go. Right, okay, so I have an orange and a blue yarn. This is also for another friend at school. And these will also be for the cowl. And this is also a nice, I love this fabric in here. If I ever start making bags, I definitely want to get this fabric. If I ever get to making bags. Yeah, but that is that. So those are my upcoming projects. Sorry, I kind of quickly moved through those things. Anyway, I'm on to Costa Rica chatter. So I got back Friday night. I think the plane landed at 8. And, yeah, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the activities that I did. We did relax a little bit, which was good. But we were also able to go on one trip. We went to a lodge which had a lot of like activities running, and they had zip lining, which was awesome. I'll try to put in a video. They also had something called the Tarzan swing, where it's basically a dead drop and you're attached to a rope. I'm not an adrenaline junkie. I'm not a roller coaster or adrenaline junkie, but I think it was all like I liked it. You know, it's not, if you ever thought that you were scared of zip lining is a ton of fun. Zip lining is really, really great. And yeah. Also, so we went ziplining on this is all on like the same day trip. Ziplining. This one place had the longest water slide in Central America. It was awesome. It was like this cement poured, almost looked like a luge run, and you went through the forest, and it was very windy and going down hills, and it was awesome. It went on for like a good minute 30 seconds, and you were going at a good 15 miles an hour. It was awesome. It was really, really a lot of fun. I like that more than the ziplining. Honestly, I found the ziplining a tiny bit boring, but ziplining was awesome. Ziplining was like really, really cool. Like the first time I was kind of scared, but then when you got the hang of it, it was, you know, you kind of just hanging out, and it was really cool. It was really cool. Like, it wasn't as daredevilish as, you know, the water slide or this Tarzan jump was. You know, this was more just like looking around, surveying everything, which was awesome. Really, really cool. Then, so that was, oh, and we also went on that trip horseback riding, and we went on these horses, which made me so sad. They were really, really skinny and underfed, and it was really, really, really sad. But then from the horses, we took a hike, and we saw this waterfall, and then we went to this, like, spa, which was in the middle of the forest, and they had, like, you know, hot springs, natural hot springs, and stuff like that. It was really, really cool. That was, like, an awesome trip. But we also went on a really cool boat trip, which was in, one of the national parks of Costa Rica, and it was really cool because it was a private tour, so it was just the 5 of us, and we got to get really close to things like crocodiles and birds, and birding is, you know, birds and butterflies are more my speed, and the guide actually attracted some monkeys with a banana. And that was not my tempo. My stepsister, I'll post a picture, or I'll put it at the end. She actually had a monkey on her head. Like, the monkeys were climbing over her, and I was like, there were at least 10 monkeys. And that was just too much for me. I can do birds, I can do butterflies, I can do small things. I can do reptiles. I cannot do mammals. More like small mammals, like rats, rodents, monkeys, stuff like that. That just, you know, stuff like that kind of just creeps me out. But that's just me. Yeah, so that was also another trip that we did. And I haven't gotten all my pictures together. I'll try to put a couple in. If I don't, look for this week or this weekend a slideshow of some photos that I will post to Facebook. To YouTube. And yeah, or I'll probably post them to Facebook too, but just take a look, and yeah, I wanted to do a blog post, but then I also thought, you know what, slideshow is just a lot easier. I mean, I don't have to juxtapose. I don't know how to say juxtapose. I guess juxtapose. That's it. I don't have to juxtapose the, you know, photos all nice and captions and all that sort of stuff. Also, speaking of juxtaposition, I got it right. Beth, who is the who is Witty Knittin' or Witty Kitten on Ravelry, and she's the co-host of the Foxes in Socks podcast. She gave me, she does this thing, it's like a paper Ravelry, she calls it, where it's basically like a scrapbook, but she uses this brand of paper crafting stuff that's not like, you don't have to glue anything down, it's more just like pockets, it's more of just like a photo album that you can kind of like personalize and put, you know, pictures, but also like paper stuff and write stuff down. So I'm basically just going to have like a knitting journal, except it's going to be strictly projects. So, and you know, maybe like fiber festivals also. But, you know, I'll have like, Joann's was having a big paper crafting sale, 50% off everything, and I had a gift card from Christmas, I think, so I got a lot of stuff. Because it was all 50% off, and it was awesome. It was perfect. So, you know, I got a binder, and I'll show that all. It should be here next week, hopefully, if not the week after. But I'll show you. I'll set it up and everything. But, yeah, it's awesome. It was really, really good. And thank you, Beth, for all of the advice. If you're watching, I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to start doing that stuff. Because my problem is, I'm not the most creative person. we might be saying, well, you knit and you have, you work with all these yarns, different colors. I'm creative in that sense, but I'm not the person that can draw freehand. I'm not the person that's like a scrapbooker. I tried all of that stuff, and it's not my cup of tea. I'm just a horrible drawer. I'm not good at all. The best drawing I have that I did was from trace paper. So I'm not good at drawing at all. No way, nothing. And so I hope that this gives me a little more of an opportunity to try something a little different, but also not have to do stuff like as much writing, more just pictures and nice papers and sort of like, yarn samples, stuff like that. I would like to have something that's a little more tangible, tangible. There we go. Keep on adding consonants or syllables. Can't find the right words. Sorry, I'm really frazzled today. Just a little crazed. Anyway, yeah, so that's that. I'm going to have this paper Ravelry thing. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to get it started. On to blabber. Weather. It's starting to warm up here, even though there was about 3 inches on the ground when we landed on Friday, which my siblings were like, oh, and my parents were like, oh, it's so cold, and there's so much snow. Honestly, I like the cold. After being in the 95-degree heat, I can definitely say that I'm definitely more of a cold person. Like, I will definitely live on the in the northeast, if not northwest, for the rest of my life. I really can, or in a colder climate, or, where I like it here because the seasons change. Down in Costa Rica, I think they said it's 10 months out of the year, it's in the 80s and 90s. Like, it doesn't get any lower than that. And I couldn't, it drains you, the heat, it just drains you so much, and I could never do that. But the weather's great. School, I'm headed back to school tomorrow. Kind of happy to get back on a routine, get back into what I'm doing. And this term, I'll be doing crew as a sport. We'll see how it goes. I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm giving it another shot, seeing how it goes. Spring. Spring has sprung, officially. Not really here. There's still a lot of snow out. And it's going to start to warm up. I have faith. I can wait. I'm not in any rush after the 95-degree heat. Not in any rush at all. Comic book club. I talked about comic book club last week. I was also a little frazzled last week. So, if I was a little confusing, we are having my English teacher is doing a comic book club at school. And basically what the comic book club is based around is, it's basically, it's more of a book club. Yeah, as I said. Crazy. Yeah, so he put out a reading list for spring break where we basically chose 1 or 2 or 3. I chose a bunch of comic books or fantasy novels to read over break. And then we're going to have a discussion about it at some point this term. But I thought I might just show you a couple of books, and I have to say, all of the books that I read, I had doubts about a couple of them. They all ended out being excellent books. If you have a kid who doesn't like to read, but, likes to hear stories and likes to, is more of like an adventure type person and likes fantasy, this is definitely, all these books are definitely the route to take. They're all in their own different genres, but it's good. This is Fables by Bill Willingham. This is an excellent book. It basically puts a play on classic fairy tales. And it's definitely written in your more classic comic book style. Very classically written, comic book. And it's basically about all of these fairy tales. All the characters out of the fairy tales are kicked out of their lands and have to come to America. And so they all, the ones that look more human are allowed to live in New York City. The ones who are like animals or ones that don't or can't afford to have like a witch make them look like a human, then they have to go and live up in a farm in upstate New York. And it basically talks about the struggles that they have, and it's a really, really, really good story. And I know that this is like a deluxe edition that the person, Mr. Onion, as I've talked about, he recommended the deluxe edition specifically, and I recommend it because you could buy the single editions, but it's going to be much cheaper to just buy this because it's all just bound into one, and so you're not going to have to deal with $8 per book. This was about $20, so that was fine. Then we have the Umbral series. This book kind of got debound, I guess you could say. Pages are kind of falling out. But this is the Umbral book by Anthony Johnston and Christopher Mitten. And it's basically about a girl who has an orb, and she has special powers, but I was only recommended 2 issues, and there's not a lot that I can talk about. Like it's just like a lot of stories in progress and nothing that's really finalized. But basically, it's in a place where wizards are not against the law. I don't know. They're not liked, and it's a very, very good. This is definitely more like fantasy, Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, not Harry Potter, but definitely like Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, more that end of the fantasy spectrum. And I have book 1 and book 2, which I read, and they are excellent. That's the other great thing. Instant gratification books. You get through them like in less than a day. In a couple hours you can blast through them, and they're really good stories. I'm a really slow reader, and honestly, to say the honest truth, I haven't been able to read for pleasure as much as I've wanted to. I have so many books, and I'm so lucky to have so many books, but I'm bogged down with school reading, so I just don't have time to read, like a real book, which is kind of sad, because I used to love books, and then school ruined it for me. But I'll get to it someday. I have many years. This thing's kind of tilting. Sorry, my table's tilting. And then finally, this book, DMZ. This was my favorite out of all of the books that I've read. It's basically about dystopian Manhattan. And if you know what the DMZ is, the demilitarized zone, basically, it's like a ceasefire almost. Like it's a peaceful area. Peaceful. But anyway, it's basically about how Manhattan has gone to it's just gone to basically be like a wasteland. But there are people still living on it, and everything west of Manhattan, so most of the country, is known as the Free States. They've been liberated from the United States. And then everything west is free, east is still a part of the United States of America. So it's basically just Brooklyn and Long Island, and I think maybe a couple more states up north. But it basically talks about this kid who was going to be an intern for a reporting crew that was going into Manhattan, because transportation was completely shut out. All the tunnels, all the bridges, and all subway and train systems were shut down. So, everybody basically evacuated when they declared war, Manhattan. But there's still about 500,000 people living in the city. And this guy, he was supposed to go with this crew to basically, the news station sent them there to kind of get the real scoop on what it's really like in Manhattan. And the helicopter that they came in on was shot down. And so this boy, let me show you, this guy was the only one to survive, and he's basically telling his stories and reporting his finds to the news station, and they're airing it, and it gets interesting. But this is also a deluxe edition, but it's like I think there's 4 more of these deluxe editions. I think he has 74 issues in the whole set. I'm pretty sure that's it. So I think that's it for this week. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry that I've been... the book that I'm going to be reading next is this Mistborn book. It's another book for the Comic Book and Fantasy Club. I haven't gotten to it because, again, I just haven't picked up a pleasure reading book for quite some time. And yeah, so I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, one more thing. Third time's the charm. Third time I say it, we're going to be good. I had a thread. I made 2 threads in the Ravelry group. Questions for me. Any questions that you might have. I think I'm gonna start answering those on the podcast. Any questions that you might have for me, and podcast suggestions. Things that you think I could change. Things that you think could be made different. Stuff like that. Anything. So let me know what you think. If there's anything that you think I should get rid of, fix, or something that I could do to make the podcast a more pleasurable, that's not a word, a better experience for you watching the podcast, let me know. One more thing before I sign off. This shirt, you might have been looking at it. Drink Moxie. Some of you might remember this drink. It was made in Maine, and it's made with a root called the gentian root, and it was known to kind of be healing. And it's still made today. It's the oldest bottled drink because Coke used to send their syrup to like soda fountain places, and then the soda fountain places would mix it with carbonated water. But these guys, Moxie, was the first to make bottled. And if you've ever heard, obviously you've probably used he's got Moxie. You know, that Moxie, the word Moxie came from the drink. It's a lot of people say it tastes like cough syrup. I like it personally. I think it's an excellent drink. You get used to it, but it's basically, it's very, very good. So yeah, I always like to drink it whenever I'm up there, but I never drink too much. I just like to get a little taste. So, thank you all for watching. Please come back next week. Look in the group. Please do join the group. Take a look at the website, and what else? Let me know what you think. Post in that thread, because I do take everything that you guys say into consideration. If one viewer says it, I'm gonna make it better so that it's a better experience. If I'm making one experience for a viewer better, then that's the best. So let me know in that thread. Should I, or that's like the question of the week, except put it in that thread. Should I or should I not get rid of saying the entire list of male knitter shoutouts? Let me know in that thread. I think that's it. Have a great week. I'll see you all next week, and bye. Binary.